It's pitch black outside. Not even the birds are awake. The world is dead silent. And you're staring at the ceiling, seconds before your alarm detonates. This right there is the battle. You've got two options. Stay in that bed feeding your comfort, or rise and feed your fire. Let me tell you the truth about 5 a.m. It's not spiritual. It's not magical. It's war. This is the hour where most men are still wrapped in excuses, still dreaming, still hiding, still postponing their potential. But not you, because somewhere along the line you realized something. You are not like most men. Most men wait for motivation. They scroll social media hoping to feel ready. They treat discipline like a mood, and every morning they hit snooze, not just on the alarm but on their entire life. But you get up, not because you feel like it, but because you said you would. And that's the kind of man who gets dangerous. When the rest of the world is silent, you get loud in your mind. That's when your inner assassin sharpens his blade. You think clearer, train harder, moving with intention. No noise, no distractions, no dopamine drip, just you versus you. You want to change your life? Start before the sun does. Here's the brutal truth no one's telling you. If you don't control your morning, you'll never control your day. And if you don't control your day, your life will always be someone else's agenda. The average man wakes up reacting. You wake up commanding. That's why 5 a.m. is sacred. Not because it's early, but because it's earned. No one sees you at that hour. No one claps. No one posts about it. But those silent hours, that's where empires get built. Now let's talk biology. Your willpower? It's highest early. Your brain? Sharper when cortisol hits fresh. Your edge? Found in the hours no one's looking. Think about it. By the time the world's waking up groggy and lost, you've already trained, learned, planned, or executed. You've already beaten yesterday's version of yourself. That changes how you move, speak, and handle pressure. 5 a.m. teaches you presence. Because you can't fake effort when it's dark and cold. You're not doing it for likes. You're doing it because you made a promise. And that's the kind of man the world needs. Not another talker, not another dreamer, but a doer. You know what happens to a man who wins his mornings? He becomes undeniable, because discipline bleeds into everything else. You eat better, train better, think clearer, act faster. Why? Because when you've already done the hardest thing by sunrise, the rest of the day bows to you. But it starts with that first decision. When that alarm hits and your body screams, "Not yet," that's your cue. That's when you rise, not for glory, but for grit. You're not trying to feel better. You're trying to be better. So when your friends say, "Why so early?" When your girl rolls over and mumbles, "Come back to bed." When your legs ache and your brain begs for 5 more minutes, remind yourself, comfort is the enemy. And the man who chooses hard when no one's watching, he's the one who gets everything later when everyone is. You say you want to level up, then earn it when it's hardest. Every day you beat that alarm, you're declaring war on mediocrity. Every rep you grind out at dawn, you're proving your hunger. Every book you crack open while others scroll TikTok, you're sharpening your edge. This isn't a routine, it's a ritual. And every morning you keep that promise, you're building something no one can take from you. Unbreakable self-respect. You want to know where confidence comes from. Confidence is built alone, in the dark. When you push past comfort and choose yourself anyway. That's the kind of confidence that walks into a room and doesn't need to speak. The kind that attracts opportunities, women, respect, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it at 5 a.m. Still here? Good. We're about to go deeper. They lied to you. They said the secret was talent, connections, luck. They fed you the myth that success is about being chosen, being gifted, being in the right place at the right time. But here's the truth. The real power move is discipline. And most men run from it because it forces them to face who they really are. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It moves every damn day. You say you want greatness. Then look at your patterns, not your plans. Because plans don't change you. Patterns do. And the most powerful pattern any man can build? Discipline. Ruthless, non-negotiable discipline. Think about it. When's the last time you did something hard just because you said you would? Not because someone was watching. Not because it felt good. But because you gave your word. That's where power starts. Not in hype, not in hustle porn, but in follow-through. Quiet, consistent, and cold. Most men live like this. Motivation hits, they start. Resistance shows up, they fold. But the disciplined man, he moves whether he's motivated or miserable, whether he slept well or not, whether the world applauds or stays silent. Because he's not tied to feelings, he's tied to identity. He doesn't try. He is. You ever see a man with that edge? Not loud, not showy, but locked in, focused, unshakable. That man doesn't flinch because he's earned his calm. He doesn't boast because he's bled. He's trained himself to show up regardless of weather, mood, or odds. He's turned optional into automatic. And that's what discipline really is. The shift from emotion-based action to identity-based execution. You're not tired. You're untrained. Your body isn't broken. Your standards are low. You don't need more energy. You need more urgency. More clarity on why staying weak is no longer acceptable. Because here's the part no one tells you. The disciplined man isn't just stronger. He's freer. He doesn't waste energy deciding. He doesn't negotiate with laziness. He acts, and that makes him lethal. Discipline builds momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence builds identity. And identity, that's where the game changes. Because when you see yourself as the kind of man who shows up no matter what, you stop needing to hype yourself. You just do it. You don't flinch. You don't stall. You execute. Cold, clean, quiet. Now here's what separates elite from average. The disciplined man builds when there's no reward. He trains when there's no race. He studies when there's no test. He prepares when no one is clapping. And that's why, when the moment comes, he dominates. Look around. Every great man you respect, he didn't get there by accident. He didn't feel like it every day. He just refused to be at the mercy of emotion. He locked in systems. He showed up on hard days. He became his own weapon. And now you're here, watching, listening, hungry. But hunger isn't enough. Desire is cheap. Execution is everything. So how do you start? Simple. One non-negotiable promise. One small action repeated daily. One moment where you say, I go anyway. Then you stack. Add a new layer. Make it harder, cleaner, colder. Until your discipline becomes your armor. Until it becomes harder to not show up. And here's the best part. No one can take this from you. Not luck. Not genetics. Not the market. Nothing. Discipline is yours to own, or yours to abandon. No one's coming to build it for you. You want to be powerful, then start with the next decision. And the next, and the next. Each one, brick by brick, builds the man you were meant to become. Still locked in? Good. We're about to expose the lies comfort's been feeding you since you were a kid. You've been lied to since birth, told to seek comfort, told to chase ease, told that safety was success. They programmed you to believe that rest is reward, that struggle is suffering, that pressure is poison. But here's the truth, and it's going to hurt. Comfort is the enemy, not a luxury, not a goal, an enemy. Because comfort doesn't make you stronger. It makes you softer. It dulls your edge. It erodes your will. One easy choice at a time. And the worst part? You don't even feel it happening. It's slow, subtle, sneaky. Like rust. Like rot. Like poison disguised as peace. One skipped workout becomes a week. One lazy meal becomes a habit. One I'll do it later becomes your default. You tell yourself you're recharging. But what you're really doing is retreating. And every time you choose the path of least resistance, you're casting a vote for the version of you that stays weak. Let's call it what it is. Comfort is cowardice, dressed up as self-care. It's the warm blanket that smothers your fire. It's the fake friend who whispers, take it easy. while real men are out earning what you say you want. You think you're being kind to yourself? No. You're betraying your potential. You're letting softness masquerade as self-love, and it's killing your future. Look at the strongest men in history. Physically, mentally, spiritually. Do you think they were built in comfort? No. They were forged in friction, sharpened by discipline, tempered in fire. They didn't avoid pain. They chose it. They welcomed it. Because they understood this one truth: growth only comes from resistance. Every muscle you build, it breaks first, then it heals stronger. Every mindset you shift, it starts with a breakdown, a confrontation of your own weakness. Every success you chase, it demands discomfort. That's the toll. That's the tax. And most men aren't willing to pay it. But you're still here. Which means some part of you is done with average. You don't need a bigger goal. You need a deeper standard. Because comfort doesn't just slow you down, it kills your edge. It teaches you to avoid anything that hurts, which means you stop chasing anything that matters. You avoid the gym because it burns. You avoid the business plan because it's uncertain. You avoid the hard conversation because it's awkward. And in doing so, you avoid growth. But here's the shift. You start to win the moment you stop negotiating with pain. You start to transform the moment you welcome discomfort like a sparring partner. You stop asking, "How can I make this easier?" And you start asking, "How can I get stronger?" Every time you step into discomfort, cold showers, early mornings, brutal workouts, rejection, failure, you chip away at the soft shell holding you back. You forge something harder, sharper, scarier. You build a version of yourself that doesn't fold, doesn't flinch, and doesn't fade when life throws fire. And that version, he doesn't just survive, he dominates. So here's your challenge. Start seeking what hurts, not to suffer, but to strengthen. Not for the pain, but for the power it builds. Because when you train your mind to embrace the hard stuff, you train your life to rise under pressure. And when life gets heavy, you won't break, you'll bite down. Because you've already chosen the hard path, long before it was forced on you. Most men live soft. You won't. Most men run when it burns. You'll stand still and breathe fire. Most men need motivation. You'll be driven by something deeper. The fire of earned identity. Comfort won't make you a king. It'll keep you a pawn. You don't need a vacation. You need a mission. You don't need a break. You need a breakthrough. You don't need more comfort. You need more chaos. Controlled, channeled, conquered, still standing. We'll now reveal the one habit that separates pretenders from predators. And it's not what you think. It's 4:57 a.m. You're awake before the alarm. Not because you want to be. Because you've built something deeper. A trigger in your brain that says rise or die as you were. That's the 5 a.m. ritual. Not a time slot. Not a trend. A damn weapon. You've heard it 100 times. Wake up early and you'll be successful. But that's not the truth. The truth is, who you are at 5 a.m. is who you really are. No audience. No claps. No likes. Just you. The dark and the decisions that define your edge. This ritual, it rewires you. Let me walk you through how real men build dominance before dawn. 1. Wake without negotiation. Alarm goes off. You rise. That's it. No snooze. No stalling. The weak man sleeps in. The weapon stands up. 2. Shock the system cold. Cold water shower. Splash. Plunge. Doesn't matter. It hurts. That's the point. You control the pain. You dictate the terms. You start your day with resistance on purpose. 3. Train like a savage. Push-ups, pull-ups, weights, running. Not for aesthetics, for grit. When your heart's pounding before sunrise, the rest of the world feels like child's play. 4. Load the mind. Block the noise. No scrolling. No news. You feed yourself content that slices through fog. I use tube mastery, not just for YouTube, but for focus and systems. Before 6 a.m., my video plan is mapped, my creative block is gone, and I've already won half the day. And for my mindset, positive mindset, simple tools, tactical reframes, No fluff. It's mental armor. And if I skip it, I feel it. Want them? They're in the description. I'm not selling you a dream. I'm giving you weapons. Use them, or don't. But stop claiming you want to level up while running on guesswork. 5. Set intent like a hunter. Write your 3, not 10, not maybe someday goals. 3 outcomes you will destroy. And then, go. No explanations, just forward motion. You do this 5 mornings in a row, and something changes. Not outside, inside. Your confidence shifts. Your posture tightens. Your energy says, I'm here to take something. Because now, you've got proof. Not just goals, evidence. You've already moved before 90% of men open their eyes. And that does something to your wiring. This ritual builds a man who's hard to kill mentally, emotionally, financially. Why? Because he's already fought the hardest part of the day, himself. He's not perfect. He's prepared. He's not jacked. He's dangerous. He's not motivated. He's programmed. You want to rewire your life? Start before the sun. Don't wait for pressure. Create it. Don't wait for the structure. Build it. Don't wait for the breakdown. Execute your breakthrough. You want to be dangerous in the boardroom, gym, relationship, life. Then stack wins while they're sleeping. And if you need tools to anchor it all, tube mastery, positive mindset, real gear, real change. It's all in the description. Stop pretending you don't know what to do. Start using the tools elite men actually deploy. Because at 5 a.m., you either build or you break. You either bleed early or get crushed late. You either move forward or fall behind again. This is your edge. Sharpen it. We're almost there. But the last part, that's where the mask comes off. The old you dies. Ready? You've done the reps. You've bled before breakfast. You've silenced the noise. You've crushed weakness under ritual. Now it's time to decide. Not what you want. Not what you hope. Not what you should do next. Who the hell you are. Because everything you've done up to this point, every early morning, every hard choice, every rep in the dark, it doesn't mean a thing if you don't claim the identity. You've flirted with greatness. Now you lock it in. Let me make this clear. You don't rise at 5 a.m. just to be productive. You rise at 5 a.m. to eliminate the version of you who settles. Every time you show up in the dark, you're sending a signal to the world and to yourself. I am not like them. I will not die average. I choose the hard path on purpose, because I'm building something bigger than comfort. You think it's about discipline, but this goes deeper. It's about truth, because men lie to themselves every day. They say they want success, but chase cheap hits of dopamine. They say they want love, but don't even respect themselves. They say they want freedom, but hand their time to distractions. You're not doing that anymore. You've buried that man. The one who talked but never walked. The one who blamed and begged and hid from mirrors. You left him behind at 5 a.m. Now you stand over the grave. And the only thing left is to choose who rises next. Not the man your past designed. Not the man your doubts have chained. But the one who owns every scar, every failure, every dark night, and uses it. The one who isn't afraid of hard anymore. Because hard is where he gets sharper. This isn't a motivational speech. This is a defining moment. From this point forward, you train when it's cold. You speak when it's uncomfortable. You lead when no one claps. You move like every step matters because it does. You stop hiding behind potential, and you start acting like it's already real. Because it is. Your story isn't written in your goals. It's written in your grit. In the early wake-ups, the silence you kept, the sweat no one saw, the days you moved forward, when everything said stop. That's your legacy. So now ask yourself, who the hell am I? Say it out loud. Say it like it matters. You're not just some guy trying to improve. You're the one who decided. The one who executed. The one who refused to break when life hit hard. You are becoming a man of vision and fire, of discipline and purpose, of silence and steel. You want clarity? Here it is. If you don't decide who you are, life will decide for you, and life doesn't choose winners. It chooses survivors. It chooses silence. It buries men who never stood up and claimed their place. But not you. You woke up. You showed up. You fought in the dark. And now, you know. You are no longer watching this channel just to feel inspired. You're here because it reflects what's already inside you, and it's time to unleash it. So here's what happens now. You lock in. You subscribe. Not to this channel, to your standard. You hit like, not because I need approval, but because it stamps a moment. A moment where you said, I'm done pretending. If this hit you, don't just watch. Don't just nod. Lock in. Subscribe to the Power Playbook. Because this isn't motivation. This is the mirror. And you just met the version of you that doesn't fold. This is your wake-up call. This is your weapon. This is your Power Playbook. Now go live like it.